Making a beautiful aquarium can sometimes be challenging, but after building quite a few tanks over the years, I've picked up some reliable tricks that help me get great results almost every time. Some are all about hardscape, others involve using your plants in interesting ways, and a couple come in handy after your tank is fully set up. Hopefully, a few of these are new to you, and you can start implementing them right now. Do you feel attracted to the scenery? Maybe it's just me, but I really like this footage. Actually, it's not just me. My German blue wren seems to like it too. The reason I like it so much is because of something I like to call the appeal of the unknown. It sounds fancy, but it's actually something we feel instinctively. Humans are naturally drawn to mystery. We are curious by default, and you can absolutely use that to your advantage when designing your tank. Think about it. Have you ever found yourself staring into a dim corner of an aquarium, wondering what's hidden back there? That's the feeling we are going for. In my own experience, I found two ways to create this sense of mystery, and both have to do with how you use light. The first one is when you, the viewer, are in the light, and there's a dark spot in the tank you can't quite see into. Your eyes are pulled towards it. You want to know what's there. The second is the opposite. Everything around you is shadowed, but there's one focused area of brightness inside the tank. That little glowing spot becomes almost magical. It draws you in. Both of these setups play off the same instinct, or attraction to the unknown. You don't need a fancy lighting rig either, just a little creative placement of shadows and highlights. Whether it's a shade cave beneath some driftwood, or a soft spotlight shining on a single plant, you're not just building an aquascape, you're telling a story, one where your viewer becomes part of the scene, chasing that little bit of mystery you so carefully designed. Something that always grabs attention in a tank, whether people realize it or not, is structure. If you want your aquascape to feel more dynamic and actually hold people's attention, build complicated structures. Not messy or overcrowded, just complex. Tall, intricate layouts naturally feel more engaging, and the higher you go, the more it pulls the viewer in. Don't be afraid to use every inch of vertical space your tank offers. One trick I've leaned on a lot is stacking rocks using just super glue and paper towels. It sounds a little sketchy, but the results can be surprisingly solid. You see this tank? Every bit of hardscape I put together using paper towel and super glue. You're basically sculpting your own custom formation. The best approach I've found is starting with a photo, something from nature that catches your eye. The more intricate the landscape, the better it'll translate into an engaging scape. Don't worry if it looks like a big project. The time and effort you put into shaping these structures always shows in the end result. And what's great is that no matter what happens with your plants, whether they thrive or melt back, the hardscape remains. That backbone gives you room to experiment. If your initial plant selection doesn't work the way you expected, you don't have to start from scratch. You just keep adjusting until you find the right match. So much of aquascaping is trial and error, but when your foundation is strong and interesting, everything else you build around it has more impact. If you guys are enjoying the video, remember that you can like and subscribe, and check out my shop for healthy plants that are shipped with real love and care. One of my favorite tricks for adding depth and atmosphere to a tank is creating a natural canopy. It's not something you see all the time, but when it's done right, it completely changes the feel of the scape. You can build this effect using fast-growing stem plants, stuff that shoots up quickly when you feed it well. So start with a rich fertilizer routine and really let your stems take off. Then, instead of trimming them all short, like we usually do, the goal is to guide that growth. You'll want to trim the stems that shoot out of the water or try to grow towards the front glass. Keep those in check. What you are aiming for is horizontal growth, where the stems start to trail across the surface of the tank. Once they hit that point, they'll begin sending roots downward, and that's when it really starts to feel like a natural overhead canopy. It creates this layered forest-like look, plants up top, roots dangling below, and all your midground and foreground elements sitting beneath it. To achieve this more efficiently, use your water flow to help shape it. Focus your attention on the stems growing with the current, not against it. Those will naturally spread in the direction you want and build out that top layer faster. When it comes together, it's this peaceful shade vibe that makes everything underneath look more alive. Fish love it, shrimp love it, and honestly, so will you. If you ever find yourself tearing down a tank or just switching things up, don't toss those leftover plants. Grow them out of the water instead. Seriously, it's just an underrated move. Not only does it save you money, but it also takes up way less space than a full aquarium. You don't need CO2, you don't need fertilizers, no heaters, no fancy setup at all. Just a few containers and a little creativity. I've done this with all kinds of plants: stem plants, carpeting plants, mosses, epiphytes. Some go into shallow soil trays. Others just sit in jars or glasses with a bit of water at the bottom. All you really need is a way to keep the humidity in. I usually just stretch some plastic wrap over the top and spray the inside with water every day. That's it, and it works. They'll keep growing, slowly but steadily, until you're ready to use them again. It's especially useful when you're planning your next scape and want to reuse plants instead of starting from scratch. You've already spent time and money getting these plants. Might as well give them a second life. Also, when they grow immersed like this, they stay healthy, compact, and ready to bounce back once they go underwater again. So next time you're about to throw out some extras, pause, set them up in a little immersed grow out station. It's low effort and future you would thank you for it. The last aquascaping technique that I want to cover in this video is one that creates an interesting dynamic, and that is getting your hands dirty. Put your hands in the water, not just when you have to, but often, on purpose. Scrape the glass, trim a few stems, adjust something slightly off, be present. The more time you spend with your aquascape, the more it starts to feel alive. And not just for you, but for your fish too. One of the best things I've done is start feeding them by hand. Yeah, it's a little messy at first, but it builds trust. Over time, they begin to associate your hand with food, not fear. That trust makes your life so much easier. If you ever need to move them for quarantine or relocate them to another tank, or tear down an old setup, they don't swim away in a panic. They actually move towards your hand. I've had fish swim right into the net without me trying. It's wild. Lately, I've been setting up a few new tanks just to grow out more plants. And as those tanks mature, I can start to realize what they need. Sometimes more algae eaters, or a different balance of livestock. And when that happens, it's easy to make changes because the fish aren't afraid of me. It all comes back to staying involved. Don't just set it and forget it. Interact, change things around. Build that relationship with your tank and its inhabitants. That daily connection makes you a better aquascaper, and your aquarium will show it. These were all techniques that I've learned by doing this for some years now. I'm sure most of you have your own techniques and tricks that you've picked up. Make sure to share them in the comments. I'll love to read them.